started with the news that we got, unsurprising, but the news that we got last night that Michael Van Buren, the Mississippi State quarterback that started 8 games this year, has in fact entered his name into the transfer portal. Yep. We talked about that possibility on Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
Possibility came to life.
Listeners to this show were not caught off guard.
Not at all. And so just your initial, we're short on time here on this segment, so we'll kind of, open the conversation and then come back to it. But your initial thoughts when you, I'm sure you knew it was coming before it broke, but your initial thoughts when the news came out.
That it wasn't a surprise that Mississippi State was planning for that to happen, that Michael Van Buren will probably have a good share of suitors in the portal. Young, talented quarterback. If State had made the decision to go forward with him, I would have thought that was a good decision.
Yeah.
But I understand why they're not. I think he's a good football player, and he will continue to improve. And I think he'll be a really good quarterback for somebody in this upcoming portal.
Yeah, this conversation, so many things about what we're talking about can be true at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like, Van Buren showed a lot. Yeah. Extremely difficult schedule, most difficult in college football. As a true freshman, thrown into that, with especially behind an offensive line that wasn't ready for a schedule like that,
right.
to put it nicely. And he showed well. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. But you would like to have a guy like him on your team. But in the portal era, especially when you have last year's starter returning, at least the first 4 games before he got hurt, and your coach is actively recruiting other quarterbacks for one reason or another, this is just the reality of college football. So you like him. You would love for him to have stayed. Keeping 3 quarterbacks like that on your roster is an impossibility. Okay, Blake Shapen, you already know he's there. Blake Shapen's going to be a quarterback at Mississippi State next year. So who's the other guy going to be? Because you can't go into the season with just 2.
Right.
Is it going to be Jackson Arnold? He is scheduled to visit Auburn. Is it tomorrow? He's scheduled to visit Auburn, I believe, and then Mississippi State following that, I believe, is the tentative schedule.
Correct.
Here's another variable in that, though. So Jackson Arnold, the Oklahoma transfer, former 5-star. Jeff Lebby recruited him. You guys listening are aware of who he is by now. We've talked about him a lot over the next couple of days.
Correct.
Also visiting Auburn, because everything comes full circle, is Duke quarterback Malik Murphy, who opted out of the bowl game against Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Threw for 3,000 yards this year. Really talented player. He's visiting Auburn today.
Correct.
So that's how fluid all of this can be at times. Mm-hmm. Quite simply, I think if you're a Mississippi State fan and if you're Jeff Lebby, you want that Murphy visit to go really, really, really well at Auburn.
Right.
And take Auburn out of Jackson Arnold's possible destinations.
Correct. So this is what I was able to learn yesterday. A couple things. One, nobody at State was taken off guard by the decision to go to Auburn first. That has always 100% been the plan. Mm-hmm. Go to Auburn, come to State, possibly visit Georgia after Mississippi State.
Interesting.
Georgia's an interesting one because Stockton's a former 5-star. They have Rashada, but...
Interesting. Wow. Anyway, continue. Sorry, that's just that kind of took me aback.
It's Georgia.
Yeah.
If you can be the starting quarterback at Georgia, it's kind of like, if you can be anybody else, be Batman. Yeah, if you can be the starting quarterback at Georgia, be it. The other side of this is this. State is very confident they're going to end up with Jackson Arnold. The people at State, the people I'm talking to. They feel very confident that he will be a Bulldog at the end of this, a Mississippi State Bulldog at the end of this. But at the same time, they will tell you that if it doesn't work out and he makes the decision to go somewhere else, they feel very comfortable with their ability to go out and find another quality quarterback. And they also feel very comfortable that Blake Shapen is there to provide because he can start.
He was supposed to start a year ago.
Now,
this year, but whatever.
The way I said it was, if you could guarantee me a 12-game season of Blake Shapen, I would take that. I would take that, and whoever's the backup is the backup. Mm-hmm. But State feels very confident that they're going to get Arnold, but they also are confident in Shapen's ability to be the starter for this team if need be.
Interesting. And, quarterbacks are hitting the portal every day. Wisconsin had a guy hit the portal. SMU had their
former Bulldog.
I imagine that. Yeah. So the options are out there if they don't get Arnold. I think from an optics perspective, right? Because I don't mean to rub it in, but it's just the reality. After a 2-10 season, you can't win a football game for a while.
Right.
You got 8-9 months until you can win another football game.
Yeah.
And so in the meantime, Jeff Lebby needs to stack wins. How do you get wins?
In recruiting.
In recruiting, in player acquisition. And right or wrong, State fans have already talked themselves into and bought in on Jackson Arnold.
They have, yes.
And getting him is a win that will satisfy your fan base. Is it the same as beating Texas A&M? No, but it is a win. Not getting him because of the sensitive nature is not the right word, but the frustration among the fan base. If for some reason he goes somewhere else.
Especially with Van Buren in the portal.
Especially with Van Buren in the portal.
If Van Buren was not in the portal yet and you missed out on Arnold, you could just say, you know what, we're going to run it back with Van Buren.
Right.
But you can't do that now. But again, I think if I had to guess, and it's just a guess, but it's an educated one, Mississippi State, I think, expects Jackson Arnold to visit this weekend. He is visiting this weekend. That's already locked in. He will be here Friday.
As long as Auburn doesn't hotbox him, isn't that what they call it?
Yeah, I think on this weekend Jackson Arnold will commit to Mississippi State.
That would be very good news.
That is where I'm at right now. Now,
it is
this time
3:25 on December 11th.
This time a week ago, I was pretty sure Tyler Lockhart was going to be an Ole Miss Rebel. So you never know how things are going to go.
In fairness, he said he was going to be.
I'm just saying, you never know how things are going to go. But as we sit here today, right this second, I think that Jackson Arnold will commit to Mississippi State this weekend.
Yeah. Somebody on the text line says, great, we probably won't get Arnold now. Van Buren is gone and Shapen will get hurt like every other year. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I understand the frustration.
Somebody says, is Shapen coming back even if we get Arnold, knowing he may not start his last year?
Shapen has already said that he is coming back regardless. He will be back in Starkville ready to play this spring.
You cannot guarantee Jackson Arnold your starting spot if you were Mississippi State.
Right.
I don't think you can guarantee that. There's too many variables with not only his play, but also with what you have with a healthy Shapen.
There's this idea out there that Arnold would be willing to come in and maybe sit out a year in redshirt. I have trouble buying into that personally, but that idea is out there. There are people at Mississippi State who will tell you that.
Would it be as simple as if he gets beat out, then he has no other choice? I mean, you have no other choice,
well,
right?
Well, get back in the portal.
I guess. But Jeff Lebby's not going to announce a starter after the spring.
Right. You redshirt. If you go into the fall, you redshirt. And here's the thing. When you're the backup for Mississippi State and the starter is Blake Shapen, you're only a play away. I mean, it could happen at any time. Shapen is just injury prone. I think he's tough. You can be tough and injury prone at the same time because you keep coming back from it. But at the same time, I can't sit here today and look you in the eye and just be like, I expect to get a full season out of Blake Shapen. Yeah, that's tough to do. He hasn't been able to give you one. So we'll see what happens. State believes in Blake Shapen. And I'll be honest with you, I thought Shapen was fine last year. He was playing well. He was not the reason State was losing the football games. His touchdown to interception was 8-1. And granted, he didn't get to play into the meat of the schedule the way Van Buren did. But he's a veteran player. I don't think he would. I mean, at the very least, he would have been the same as Van Buren, which would have put him on the season at 19-8.
And in hindsight, that game at Arizona State, I know he made the one bad mistake, the strip sack fumble. But in hindsight, playing as well as he did in Tempe, that was a good night.
He played well. Yeah, he had that one bad play.
One bad decision, but that's it.
And look, as a football player, you got to be allowed to have one bad play every now and then.
It does happen.
It just does happen. Even at his peak, Cam Newton and Tim Tebow would have a bad play every now and then.
Tom Brady has made mistakes.
Exactly. So yeah, he played well enough in that game. Now the Toledo game, nobody played well, and then nobody played well in that game. That's fine. And then against
there needs to be an oral history done about that game.
I will not be the one to recite it. It will not be voiced by Brian Haydad. We'll let somebody else do that.
Well, there were people that allowed things to be voiced by Brian Haydad when they were.
I wonder who's going to do that now. I don't think State is in a bad spot quarterback wise. And then once he comes in, I think he will be. I don't know that I'm necessarily saying he's like the first domino to fall. But having Jackson Arnold will make you attractive, I think, to maybe some of his former teammates, maybe some other skill position players who know him and think, okay, I can play with that guy. And I think I think State is very confident in who they're going to get offensively with this staff, with Levy, receivers. Bumpus is going to get guys.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I think Tucker's done a good job in recruiting running backs thus far. It's all
the skill positions offensively on this year's team
are fine.
We're totally
It's
fine.
all about does State get better on the offensive line, and then obviously what do they do defensively?
Everything.
And that's where, they've got 5 guys on campus, 5-6 guys already visiting. And
Yeah, but what good's a burger place going to do for
No. Oh, man, I wish we had a 5 guys. 5 actual men on campus. So the visitors are coming in. We'll hopefully start seeing some commitments from State in the next few days.
On the text line, does Van Buren have any visits scheduled? I don't see him getting his asking amount.
It'll be tough to get the amount that I was told that he wants.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, he doesn't have any visits scheduled yet, but he will. He's a good player. He will get visits. He will get a good NIL deal. He probably won't get what he's asking, but he'll get a good number.
Mm-hmm.
He's a talented young freshman quarterback. He showed you plenty. Big arm. He's got some mobility. What's not to like from the guy?
It's got some confidence, too.
I know. You've got plenty of that.
How confident is Haydad that Arnold will be better than average?
I mean, what Levy quarterback has not been better than average?
I don't know.
Corral, much better than average.
Yeah, I mean,
Dylan Gabriel, much better than average. Chapin was having a decent year when he got hurt.
He was fine.
Van Buren, would I say Van Buren was better than average? Yeah, I would be willing
considering
to
what he was thrown into.
Yeah, thrown into, and the fact that every time he came on the field, he had to score. He knew that.
Yeah,
he did about as good as he could.
It's just so